Good evening and thank you for joining us on Sunday Interview. I'm your host, Grevazio Zulu. Now, it's that season when citizens assume their role as employers and masters. On August 11, Zambians go to the polls to choose who they want to lead them and drive the economy and the country. But with this comes the fever of defections and endorsements, all aimed at either aiding or swaying the minds of the people to vote for a particular candidate. My guest this evening is former Vice President Enoch Kavindele. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you on the program.
Thank you, Grevazio. Not really. I've been here before. Thank you very much.
Well, to begin with, on a lighter note, I want to get your name correct. Is it Kavindele or Kavindele?
Yes, Kavindele.
Okay.
You pronounced it very well. Indeed.
Now let's look at who Mr. Kavindele is. Who are we talking to? We need to establish that before. Well, are you a PF member, MMD member, retired politician?
I'm more or less really retired, or you could say taking sabbatical leave from politics. I'm neither PF nor UPND. I am MMD. But the state of affairs in the MMD are such that, you know, I just stay aside and look at what is happening.
You're supposed to be one of the old members of the party. You have no intentions of trying to help the party to come back to life?
They don't ask. The people who've taken over the MMD do not seek advice. If they did, would advise them. And where they've given them advice, they've ignored it in preference to their own position that they've taken.
Maybe I should ask, what do you think they're doing wrong?
Well, firstly, you see, a lot of MMD members of parliament, as you know, have defected to another party. And those are the people that were behind the MMD's successes. But because they believe they have been ill-treated and not appreciated, they have had to go. They are politicians. So I don't blame them at all.
Now, one of the key issues that has come out and come up on the stage, political scene, is yourself as former Vice President endorsing President Edgar Lungu. Why have you made this decision?
Right. Firstly, I'm being very consistent with the decision I have made to endorse President Lungu, because I'm aware that President Lungu has shown that given his own 5 years, he will improve in many ways. And as such, he does need that support of experienced people such as myself. President, and by so doing, I say I'm being very consistent, because even the time when there was that infighting in the PF between him, who was left with instruments of power, and those who want to take the powers away from him, I advised, and I think that was recorded in one of the newspapers, the Daily Nation, where they say that, where I said, Lungu blundered, says Kavindele, that the president should never have wanted to hand over the instruments of power to Guy Scott, because Guy Scott did not qualify under that constitution. Even though he acted wrongly, but not under the law. There was no law supporting him. So I said, no, look, this should go to President Lungu. So I'm being very, very consistent. And over the past 1.5 years, so to speak, that he has been in power, he's shown that he's a very capable man, he's quite tolerant, and indeed, he is looking at Zambia as a whole.
You're looking, someone may argue that you're looking at President Lungu, and when other people campaign, the opposition on the other side, when they're campaigning, they'll look at the party, they'll look at the PF. Has the PF performed? Is that what you're looking at when you're supporting?
Well, I think only the other day the president was addressing the nation, and he came up with what he has done, what the PF have done, and that is commendable, in my opinion. Commendable, but they'll certainly do much better in the years to come.
In your view, has the PF performed?
To some extent, yes, and to other extent, no. Because firstly, the development hasn't been equitably distributed, in my opinion. In the Northwestern province, when you talk to people, people protest there and say, look, you know, we've been ignored. Certainly, in President Lungu, we've seen a friend of the province. He's gone there several times, and he's gone there to do so many other functions that please the people. But we feel that in future, certainly the province should have its own share of development. For instance, the province lags behind in the areas of education. I mean, all these years, there are some places that have got 2 universities or 4 universities within a radius of 10 kilometers, public universities. And that province hasn't got any at all. So these are things that people bring up. But I do know that in due course, they will be resolved.
Mm-hmm. So when you speak as Mr. Kavindele, why should people listen to you?
Well, they should listen to me because firstly, I have a lot of experience in the politics. And my advice is quite useful in many ways. I have been, as you would like to appreciate, I've been, for instance, in the MMD. My party card is number 2. So I know the MMD extremely well. Before that, even as a child, I was in UNIP. This is the card that one got at independence. You see, called Independence Card, this. And I've had it for 52 years.
So you're still UNIP?
Well, the UNIP membership is for life. No one seems to have read this, but
you have dual membership.
Constitution of UNIP states that the membership shall be for life. So basically, everyone in all these other parties, except you youngsters, but those who at that time who went into politics there, have, I think, have got dual citizenship.
But you've got a right to resign, isn't it? It's a club, so...
Well,
you leave UNIP and you
left
UNIP and joined MMD.
Yes, I suppose so, but certainly, again, it's one party that has a lot of potential. People know UNIP, but again, it has also seemed to suffer somehow. But I am able to advise both parties, or any other party for that matter, on really the way forward. And because I live in Zambia, and if Zambia catches fire, I'll also be affected, whether I'm a PF, MMD, or UPND. So it's right that from time to time, I give advice to those that are currently deciding our fate.
So, maybe I need to ask you this. Are you looking for a job? Because this is a season now, which is everyone is endorsing and defecting and knowing a good number of Zambian politicians never want to retire. Are you still looking to get back into government? Through the back door, probably, through an endorsement?
No, not really, no. Firstly, I've been vice president to 2 presidents. And served as minister maybe 21 years ago. So I would not want to be minister again after 21 years to go back.
Even if you were offered?
No, I don't think sort of things that I'm doing, keep me sufficiently busy. Only this morning I came from Chingola. I was in Chingola on my farm there, and here I am. So these are things that I cannot do if I were back in government. So I have no intentions of lobbying for any position in government. Neither do I feel like somebody said maybe this man he had respect for me, but hunger has drawn me to supporting President Lungu. That is not correct, because firstly, all right, money is relative. I'm nothing to a Dangote, but by Zambian standards, I think I'm well off, as some of the people may know. I sold part of my land at Chambishi to the Chinese, where they are mining. And I was paid $10 million by the Chinese, and I shouldn't be saying these things, but I suppose it's nice to be transparent. And I paid my just to the Zambia Revenue Authority on $10 million. So I'm quite happy. And
the fact that you are even selling off property, isn't that a symbol that you're probably not doing fine?
If I sell a property and I get $10 million, is that not doing fine? How many of our people, compatriots in this country, have $10 million or receive $10 million in cash? There are very, very few. So the idea is certain issues you bring up. I've invested also that money very wisely. It's not that I move with it in the pockets, but after paying ZRA their dues, the rest I've invested. So I believe that coming from a home where there are only two, because the children have all left home, they are working abroad, and you know, have no more school fees and things like that to pay. This is fine. This is fine. Yes, $10 million in the bank, not kwacha, dollars in the bank. It's fine.
People will argue that probably this is not the Kavindele we used to see with God Watch, God Pain, and so many millions in the account, and glamorous.
If 10 million,
the Zambian Dangote, your standards have gone down in terms of income.
No. If anything, I can just live on the interest of the money for the rest of my life. You know, interest is at 25%. $10 million is now 100 million kwacha. And that, just the interest on that, is sufficient for buying in Shima. And so I'm fine. I have no problems at all of that sort.
So you have not been bought in this endorsement?
No. No one has bought me. This has been a personal conviction that I should support the man I think is going to take Zambia forward by what he has done. Mr. Lungu has certain attributes which are not common with the leaders. You know, some of these things that everybody says about him, not everybody, but in the opposition, people say about him. If you say to them, to any of the other presidents, that will probably be the end of you somehow, indeed. And I have known and worked with all the presidents from independence to now. I do know, although I was not in PF, but I worked with Mr. Sata. He was my national secretary when I was deputy or vice president. So I do know I knew his temperament, and he couldn't accept some of the things that people are saying about Mr. Lungu. Just one gentleman, I think, is Reverend Frankie Waria said, you know, this one is
I'll not allow you to repeat certain things, and I guess because he probably is not here to defend himself.
Right. Yeah, then he was taken in indeed. So I think that he has those attributes, and I do know that he's committed to helping the private sector move on. However, the problem that there has been there is that he inherited a situation which was difficult to change. And as a politician, or former politician, I do know that. If he removed most of the people that he found, people would say, no, he's getting rid of those that made him. Indeed. So he's had to go with the people that he inherited. Some of them are good, some of them are not too good, because we see their performance, indeed. So this is why I think that given his own term, he will come in with his own people, even the civil service. The presidency cannot perform properly with a non-functioning civil servant, or rather civil service. And some of those civil servants, in my view, are cadres from the decisions they make or from the decisions that they don't make. So you can see that professionalism has drifted from the civil service. And that is dangerous for the country. When we ask for investments in Zambia, we are competing with other countries in the region. And because we are competing with other countries in the region, we really have to make quick decisions, or otherwise the investors will walk away with their money. A case in point, must say, is that of FastJet airline. They wanted to set up here, and their fees were, if you wanted to go to Johannesburg, you pay probably $50. Coming back, another $50. That's $100. That was going to help everybody here. But government took long to make a decision. So they just decided to go away. And I do know of many investors that are disenchanted with the performance of our civil service. So they are not investing. But given...
When you see these things, are you speaking with the president and other people to see it, try and change?
Well, I have got access to the president. I can tell the president indeed. But, you know, you cannot be running to the president all the time. There's something wrong. Then you rush there, whatever. Because some of these things are meant to be for the civil servants to know. The example is that when government sold Zamtel to Lapo Green, for instance, they brought in a law to protect Lapo Green that for 5 years there will be no any other investor in the cellular business, for instance. Now that for 5 years was up in 2014. Now it's not for me to go to the president and say, President, look, this is what your predecessor told me that will happen, and he wrote me a letter. But you know, civil servants themselves should be able to know that that thing is up, and those licenses should be given to the people that had it, but or have it, but because there was that law, they couldn't go ahead. Indeed.
I'll still ask you, you served as vice president under Chiluba,
and
you served under Mwanawasa, you were inherited by Mwanawasa.
No. Yes, okay. Yes, yes, that's right.
Like you've said about others being inherited. What challenges does the president face? You're running a government, you are new, you have your colleagues that you probably never went to an election with in the first place.
There are lots of challenges for president. The first challenge the president faces is holding the country together. Yeah, that's #1 challenge. Because it's so easy just to focus on one region and forget the rest of the country. Once you've done that, the idea therefore becomes now one of taking the country to a higher stage in development. And indeed it has happened. Places that didn't have roads now have got roads. So people are able to move and trade because there is a development. So basically unity and development are the two basic issues for any president. But in getting to that point, there are many challenges, extreme challenges indeed. And we could spend the whole of this evening just talking about the challenges of the presidency, because I know them. I acted as president on many occasions, and I was privileged. The president that appointed me, Dr. Chiluba, was retiring. So, because he was retiring, he gave me a lot of work, which normally a vice president would not have. And then the next one who came in, Mwanawasa, also was new to the job. He had been in that job before, but he didn't know, for instance, the people that how politics had fared. And I had to take him all around Zambia, introducing him and introducing our programs. And indeed, when he came to forming cabinet, he didn't know most of the people. So he asked me, he said, look, give me names of deputy ministers, for instance. So I gave him names of the people I thought needed to be deputy ministers. Ministers he appointed, but in the case of, I think about 3 or 4, you know, he had to consult me, and I advised him for and against. Again, he went ahead. So that experience was very, very interesting.
And in running an election, what are some of the challenges you face as you're the government, sitting government, you're the president?
When you're a president, when you're sitting government, it's easy for the opposition to attack. Yeah. And that's their job, just to attack whatever you do. But it's up to the Zambian people themselves. Now the Zambian people have had so many elections, and now they do know that it is not right, you know, just to believe what new people come and tell you. If government is working, then give it another opportunity to continue with their work. So change should not just be for the love of change. It should be those who are going to come in. Are they going to do better than the ones that we have? And for now, certainly listening to the language portrayed by some colleagues in the opposition, I think that language is not right. Yes, it's not palatable at all. It's uncivil. You know, president is elected by the people, and he needs to be respected. And there's no such a thing as a weak president, because the president has the law behind him to do whatever he wants to do under the law, indeed. But you see, you get a good man who may just ignore and let's continue as if nothing has happened. Now, there are very few people who can do that. I certainly would not do that. I would object to being insulted openly.
You would lock up your opponents if they insulted you?
I mean, not necessarily lock them up, but I would challenge them. Like Mwanawasa challenged Scott. You know, Scott said something like, oh, Zambia will go on fire, what. Mwanawasa said, no nonsense, we can't allow that. And he had him locked up till I went there to bail him out. Because that is lack of discipline. Lack of discipline. If those who have got other homes they can run to can just cause problems, and they go into some little settler's farm and go into small aircraft and they are flown out of Zambia. And you know, they're right where
you believe, isn't that an unfair attack on the opposition when you think they have no interest of the country at heart?
I wouldn't say they have no interest of the country at heart. Certainly they do have interest of it, but the way they are going about it, what do you achieve by calling a president names, discussing personal issues? They should be discussing politics of development. Yeah. But you know, to give president names or nomenclatures like that does not show respect. And I do know that these other fellows, if they ever became presidents, they will not allow what they are doing to the other president. Yes. You know, they try hard to provoke a very good man. And the man just ignores them. That is a very, very serious attribute to the man. Not many would do that. During the UNIP days, we would get together and say, but you know, the president said, you stupid idiots. And we were being agitated and we were getting very, very sad about it. Indeed, that we could be called names. But here, the president is insulted directly, and that is not fair.
So I want you to compare the opposition today and the time you were in government.
Yeah.
Is it the same?
Not really, not really. I think even the opposition that came, the PF, was set up by a former MMD Secretary General. And even though they articulated issues, they did not go this distance at all. They articulated issues of development. You're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not doing this. Indeed. But I think, in my opinion, this particular opposition now is going too far.
Do you think the opposition is not pointing at issues? They're not talking issues?
From time to time, they would come up with one little issue, but half the time, just insults. Just insults.
How should they operate, in your view?
They should operate as opposition that guides or gives advice to those that are in power to implement some of the things that they think they should be doing. You see, to go around and say, oh, we have no power because of this man, because of that man. Now, he's not in charge of rents. Neither is he in charge of, you know, the metal prices that have gone down and the whole world is affected. The Chinese have reached a point where now they say our development is fine. So keep your commodities, and the prices have gone down. Now to come and just blame a person who's there because he is president. No, there are certain things. Yeah, I can tell you that there are certain things most people are not happy about, even I. Levels of corruption, for instance, are high, and I'm sure the president sees those things, but for the time being, he can do very little about it. To get those chaps back into the jail or whatever, send them away or whatever, they'll go back now and start decampaigning the president. That's how politics is. It's not that he's soft on corruption. I'm sure he knows what is going on, because the president receives 2 security reports a day, in the morning and in the evening. So he would know. Like I was in Chingola today, this morning. I'm sure the office in Chingola, if they saw me, they would have transmitted information. Around here is this man. What he's doing, we don't know, or they know, you know, things like that. So that is how a country is run.
So in this case, are you sure you should dictate that the opposition are fighting to get power?
Yes.
Isn't that the core business of an opposition at some point?
Indeed.
An alternative government, and you cannot be an alternative government if you do not, you cannot rule the country if you don't get the power, isn't it?
Politics is all about power, yes. However, it can be power that is obtained with decorum. Just insulting a person personally, publicly, is not right. And the Zambian people don't take kindly to that sort of situation. Because firstly, as Africans, we respect elders. Now, when the president is called all sorts of names, even the youngsters coming think that that is how to address a president. So it will go on, even at some point when if they ever come to take on power, this thing will continue. But it needed to be stopped. There are many issues that can be discussed without insulting other people.
So do you think Zambians are far from getting issue-based campaigns on the table?
That's what they want. That's what they want. In most situations, people want to know why the price of meal is high and need somebody to explain. And I think the president, for instance, explained the other day, talking about the greed of millers at times. Yes, because they are being given very cheap maize, but because they want to make big money, so prices go up. Now that is going to fall. We are liberalized the economy, fair enough, but that causes the government now to think seriously. Is this really right? So one day just wake up and say, no, these things are controlled. And if they are controlled, then it brings more problems. Yes. Milumi won't be found because it's now gone underground. Things are because it's controlled. So you find that youngsters by the roadside will be selling Miu because they're getting it from the people that would normally sell it. Just as you see, if you go on Chachacha Road there, you see there are youngsters outside shops who don't pay tax, but selling more or less identical items like those who own shops. That is the danger of controlling prices. So at some point, there should just be people controlling themselves, saying, now look, profit is fine, but beyond this, it becomes greed.
We have the issue currently, which is very common, about parties, politicians crossing floors, crisscrossing parties.
Yeah.
Today you're in this party, tomorrow you're in the other party. What causes this?
Firstly, because there are no ideological differences. All they want is power. Yeah. If there was something like, okay, we are socialists, we can go to capitalists, things like that. Yes, but all they're after really is power. And in this particular case now, it's become quite common to go to this one party. And soon, what they have been condemning others of doing, say, okay, they brought in new people to take over from us, what. Those parties they are rushing to, the people they find there will be saying the same things at some point. We worked for this party. You called us a Bantustan. Now what are you doing in our party? Things like that. So this will continuously be there, which is really a shame, because people should stick to principles. Yes. Seeking power, there's nothing wrong in seeking power. But the way they're doing it, in the end, there'll be no benefit to anyone at all, including themselves. Because where they're going, there are people who are already established there. It doesn't mean that when they go there, then they become whatever. They may achieve what they want to achieve, which is to remove a government. But thereafter, what happens?
Does it show that Zambian politicians probably do not have principles, firm principles? To
be honest with you, I've been in this game, like I've told you, for a very long time. There are very few principles. Yeah, it's all about power. And because politics have been made lucrative, you get a fella, with only maybe a bicycle or whatever. They come to parliament, soon they're given a loan to buy a top-of-the-range motor vehicle. Suddenly, they want to buy a house or things like that. So there are benefits. It's those benefits in politics that make this country or many other countries not go forward, because people are there for the benefits, not really for a service. No. And for me, I've seen this for a long time. When I first went to parliament, whatever, I thought we were all in parliament just to serve. There was not even a salary. I didn't even know that there was a salary until after 5 years. Rather, President Kaunda wrote me a letter saying, I have information that you are not getting your salary or allowances. I said, but I thought we were here to save. No, we're here to be paid. You know, this is it. So
then you realized it was lucrative and you started getting the gratuities.
Well,
and you never wanted to leave.
No, I left. Yes,
after losing.
Yes, I could have been in politics if I wanted to for a long, long time. I mean, there are people older than me. 2 months' time, I'll be 66. And I know there are people in politics that are maybe 10 or 20 years even older than me. So I still have a strength to be in politics. But I feel that...
were you pushed out?
No, not really, no.
By the electorate? Not
really. I basically lost interest in one or two things that happened in our party, for instance. When people from outside came in to be above those that I was working with, it became difficult to control the party. Yeah, it became very difficult to control the party. So a lot of people lost interest, unfortunately.
So to bring back the principles, to stop this politics of greed, or what others would call politics of the belly, what do you think should be done?
Firstly, that idea, which was rejected by Parliament, of ministers coming from outside Parliament, was the best. It would have checked this situation. Because then people would have known that to go into Parliament is to go to offer service, not to benefit oneself. Indeed. And that is the situation. When politics become a service, when people there just go there for a service to work and not to look for all sorts of things. And you know, a guy who's been working at a level that is quite low, they go to Parliament, as I say, they get motor vehicle, they get this, they get that, they get loans, and they get a gratuity. So that attracts many other people to politics. Yes. Not everyone in there is for service. Not everyone there is for money. There are some people who've got their own ability to survive there, so they can be there. But the day we decide that politicians, like ministers, should come from outside Parliament, you see what will happen.
But even MPs do get gratuity, the allowances.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Indeed. So all I'm trying to say is that politics has been made to be too lucrative. Yes.
By us, the Zambians?
Well, yes, by us, the Zambians. By us, the Zambians. In the UK, members of Parliament go to Parliament using the train, or using taxis, or using buses. Yeah. So there are no such benefits that, okay, now, oh, bye-bye to poverty, because I'm going to be there. There's nothing like that. So people there go for service. Whereas here, it's not always service. It's what will I get out of it. Mm. So yeah, this is why when it comes even to voting, you find people, why should I go and vote if that chap there, you know, is with us here? When he goes there, okay, he buys his Land Cruiser, and what's it there for us? People ask.
So this issue of endorsement, wouldn't you rather remain neutral?
No, I should not remain neutral because firstly, I've got lots of experience in politics and I think I should assist.
After retiring, shouldn't you be sitting at the fence and guiding everyone and not endorsing people?
No, there's nothing wrong in endorsing. I've only got one vote. When I endorse, doesn't mean that the whole village is endorsing. But it's my job to assist, to guide. And in fact, a lot of people, when I said what I said a few days ago, those that know me were phoning and saying, this is great. Now we know what position you take and now we know what we should be doing or looking for. And I think that is my role. But otherwise, I'm only a single voter with only one vote. Not that that one vote is not important. I went into an election where I won by one vote after counting 7 times at Mulungushi.
An election people suspected you stole, probably?
Well, 7 times we counted and I won by one vote. Yeah, but it's not the first time. It's happened several times in politics. I remember on the core belt, one won by flicking a coin. Yeah. So that is the nature of politics.
Your endorsement, doesn't it throw you back into the political arena and open you to attack?
Not really, but attacks, you know, I've been in politics for such a long time. Attacks are nothing. Attacks are nothing as long as I know what I'm doing is correct. Yes.
Attacks in your personality that you've been bought?
Well, I've just proved to you that...
Probably a finished politician?
I can't be bought.
With no influence, no impact?
I think I have a lot of influence. I've not been asked to campaign. I just endorsed. If a president or anyone else feels that I will play a role in campaigning for him, the one I've endorsed I'll campaign for. Because I'm able to explain. We don't have much time here, but I'm able to explain why a country like Zambia needs such a man at this particular time.
Why does a country need such a man at the particular time?
Because he's going to take it to the next level. First, he's now had the experience of being president. In the 2 years that he has served as president, he knows the intricacies of the job. So he's not going to learn any more. Well, we're always learning things, but at least he knows what it is to be in that job. 2, he will sieve those that things can help him take the country to a higher level, and perhaps he put sideways those that are not performing. That's the job of a president.
You're a businessman. You're looking at the environment now in the country. Perfect for business? Or faced with challenges?
Well, the business community is faced with the challenges. Basically, you see, you need government. Government is one that gives licenses. If you, for instance, you want to ride a taxi from here to town, you need a license. And the license will be given to you by government. If you want to open a shabin or a beer hall, whatever, you need a license. If you want to buy a farm, you need a title deed. You need those things are not done by the president or the presidency. Those things are done by bureaucrats in government. So what we want as a business community is that there's effectiveness in performance by the civil service, which at times, I'm afraid, is not there. Is not there. It takes too long to get results or to get anything from government these days.
Let's move on and look at, as a businessman, Kavindele as the businessman.
Yes.
At one point you did stand out as a good businessman, and probably you still do. Let's look at the issue of the Northwest Railway, which is, it's been very quiet now.
Well, it has been quiet. The Northwest Rail
project, nothing much coming up.
Northwest Rail, we raised all the finance that was needed for that project. What we've been waiting for is concession agreement, the type of agreement that you have with the government as to how you're going to relate to each other. Now, we submitted that document on the 8th of August in the year 2014. This is 2016. That document is still with the civil servants, the ministry. Now, I can't go to the president to take advantage because I know the president and start explaining these things that civil servants are paid for. But for almost, you know, for over a year, we're waiting for a document, which I myself delivered there.
Is that the reason you've endorsed him? Probably he could look favorably on that one?
No, he doesn't have to, because I got a license already. If I got a license from Wanawasa to run the rail. I've got, what we started is, you see, when we gave the government a document we call the concession or implementation agreement, they have not replied. They've sat on it. I've gone to government and said, look, if you guys suspect that you want to be part of it, fair enough, take some shares in it. Yeah. Even that is silent. So these are some of the things that we are complaining of. I'm not the only one. There are many other people. For instance, those who want to open hydro plants. They've got the money, but the lenders, the funders, want to see a title deed to that piece of land. Now, that title deed is not given by the president. It's given by some people in some ministry. Now, if they're just seated on it, Zambia will continue to import electricity. And yet, just that little piece of paper signed, people will invest. And you're talking about investing big monies. The railway is $1.2 billion, not kwacha, $1.2 billion. And the money is there, government, no, funders have gone to government. say, look, we are part of this, we're interested in this, but government is taking long. Indeed. So those are frustrating issues, but those are personal to some extent.
You had promised that the rail line will start by March 2015, so probably a year later.
It should have started a long while ago because the money is there.
Where did you get the money from?
The African Development Bank, the Development Bank of South Africa, the FMO. These are big companies that finance. CDC have shown interest in financing. The Americans are very, very keen. Even yesterday I was in Chingola, the email came. Are we moving? It's expensive to hold on to money that's supposed to be working. I said, well, I'm still waiting for government. I can't take a gun to somebody's head and say, look, sign this piece of paper.
So what are the economic benefits of this rail line?
Well, the economic benefits are very many. Firstly, the road from Chingola to Solwezi is non-existent because of those big trucks that are on that road being damaged. So they need to be replaced. You cannot move heavy bulk cargo on a road. Bulk cargo should be transported by rail. I mean, I was driving from Chingola to Lusaka here today, and I counted about 43 Dangote trucks bringing cement to Lusaka or going back to Ndola. Now, the amount of cement they're carrying could be carried by one train, and therefore you are saving the roads. Yeah. So this is it. All the mining now, the profitable mining, is in the Northwestern province. The Northwestern province does need to be serviced, or the mines there do need to be serviced by rail, not by roads. The mortalities on that road are almost on a daily basis there. Every day school children trying to run from the village to their school across the road, to these big trucks come, hit them or what. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of a project like that.
So there's no movement, no feedback, you're just in the waiting mode?
Well, we gave them the document. It's for them now to reply. And you know, government works on the basis of protocol. I'm a former vice president. Now if I'm going to go around the ministries from this little office to the other office, that's not right. That's not right. I should write a letter or whatever and get a reply. Now, why should I be waiting for 1.5 years to get a reply? As if what I'm doing is personal. I'm doing it for the country. The country benefits.
Yeah. There's another business that you became synonymous with, Vodacom.
Yes, again there, Vodacom, there was an issue, as I explained earlier, that government, when they were negotiating to buy, to sell Zamtel to Lap Green, the Libyans asked that they needed protection for 5 years in order to settle. So government gave them their request by signing a statutory instrument we call 111 of 209, which for anyone else coming in that business. That is now over in 2014. So, and also Vodacom have now come back or come to Zambia talking to me. Yes. Because when government did that, I sued them. And in the High Court, we won the case. Government appealed. And the appeal was based on the fact that, okay, if Vodacom were leaving and they couldn't wait for so long, then they are the ones who had the capital, who had the technology. That would have been the end of the thing. But should they decide to come back, then, you know, the license is reinstated. So now they're talking to me. And again, I don't need to go to the president, because this matter, I'd raised it with the President Masata before he died, and President Masata just confirmed what I've told you. So now they've come, and we feel that it's almost automatic that we should get that document.
So Zambia should expect Vodacom sometime soon?
Yes, they should. Yes, they should. Everything being equal, because that is what the Supreme Court ruled. And in my opinion, there shouldn't be any other hindrance I should just go find the $3.2 million to pay for the license, which I think we will do.
Now, away from your businesses,
yes,
let's look at one other issue on the election and campaign scene. Sporadic instances of violence, isolated probably, but these are sometimes worrying.
Yes, violence is a worry. No one comes to invest in a country that is violent, where people are fighting, where people are killing each other. And indeed, I keep on telling people, look, when you are elected, even when you go to parliament, the parliamentarians from all political parties live together. They stay together at the motel. They eat together in the same restaurant. They go to the same chamber. They don't fight. Now, why are you, the voter, wanting to fight? Fighting for what? When those who benefit more, you know, they don't fight. It is wrong. It is wrong. Everyone should condemn violence. And I'm glad the churches have made to condemn violence. So that is what everyone should be doing. We don't want a violent Zambia. We are known for peace. People run to Zambia. Zambians don't run to other countries. So why should we fight and start killing each other and running to other countries? And unfortunately, as Zambians, we don't have many places to run to. If you run into the Congo, the people of the Congo are running to Zambia. If you run to Burundi or Rwanda, those are running to Zambia. So you just meet on the lake. Hey, listen what is coming in Zambia. But we are running to Zambia. I say, no, Zambia is fighting. And I come from a province where I've seen refugees really suffer. And the people that, the ordinary people, are the ones that suffer most. The leaders are taken away. I mean, here we had one president from a country that went through strife for 20 years. We were looking after him. We gave him a very large mansion, double story, gave him all the servants, gave him all the food for 20 years. So the leaders tend to be looked after when they go to another country. It's the ordinary people that suffer most. And we are saying, please, do not partake in violence. It's not necessary. Yes.
So I think this is probably the indaba that the church had together with the political parties and the president. You would commend that as a good move?
That was a good move. And I wish that people could respect that the resolutions of that indaba. But in my opinion, only one person has respected those resolutions. Those resolutions talked against calling each other names, hate speech, what. So I haven't heard hate speech from President Lungu, but I've heard it from the other people. And that is wrong. And that is wrong. And if they're going to cause problems for the people they want to lead, then that is most unfortunate.
You have issues of the Constitution. This is a pretty much different election from what we've had in the past.
Yes. We are going into these elections really not knowing the outcome, I must admit. Because this is the first time we'll be voting in so many booths for, to get a government. Including the 50 plus 1. This is a new term. All these things are new. And therefore, we have to be careful and make sure that things go well. We do not do any silly things that will put our country onto fire. The Constitution, we ask for it ourselves. For me, those that I advised against certain things in the Constitution, but they were passed as law. So what can I'm just one lone voice. And I'm hoping that really these elections do not cause us more problems.
There's the 50 plus 1, which has probably brought out the aspect of alliances among parties, and probably that's where your endorsements are coming from, trying to push one party to get more votes.
Yeah. So
alliance is the right way to go for parties?
Well, unity is very vital, is very important. However, as I said, this is a new system. We have, in the past, united the politics of Zambia by, say, MMD brought into cabinet people from FDD in there. And this has continued. President Lungu has brought in people from other political parties. That's part of wanting to unify the country, So I do hope that the alliances will work, but the best is just that somebody has a strong party that just goes outright win the first time. Yes, but should that not be possible? Well, what can we do? What can we do? Then we go back. It's expensive. Tensions will rise. The countries where they've had to go back to the elections, things haven't been well at all. But that's what we asked for.
Mr. Kavindele, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Grevazio, and I wish you well. Yeah, thank you.
You've been watching Sunday Interview, and our guest this evening was the former Vice President, Enoch Kavindele. I'll be back next week with another edition of Sunday Interview. Pleasant viewing.